among all the events that have shaped your life, one stands above every other. Not because it was the happiest, not because it was the most painful, because it happened without your permission. Your birth. From that single instant, everything else became inevitable. Every embrace you would one day cherish already carried the certainty of a farewell. Every dream was tied to the possibility of failure. Every face destined to become indispensable would, sooner or later, disappear. Even your own body, celebrated in youth, quietly began the same irreversible process that ends in decay. Curiously, almost no one thinks about this. Birth is celebrated with flowers, photographs, applause, and congratulations. Death receives silence, tears, and mourning. Yet the second is merely the unavoidable consequence of the first. A child takes its first breath in a hospital while, a few floors above or below, another family says goodbye to someone who has just taken their last. The building is the same. The day is the same. The difference lies only in the direction of the journey. More than 26 centuries ago, a Greek poet looked at this cycle without sentimentality, without consolation, and without the comforting stories people tell themselves to endure existence. His conclusion survived millennia precisely because of its brutality. The best fate for a human being is never to have been born. Those words belong to Theognis of Megara. At first, they sound almost offensive. They collide with everything we are taught to believe about life, hope, and purpose. But what if that discomfort is not caused by the sentence itself? What if it comes from recognizing, even for a brief moment, that beneath every achievement, every celebration, and every promise of happiness, there remains a truth that no one has ever escaped. No one chooses to arrive. No one negotiates the conditions of existence. And no one leaves with everything they fought to keep. Perhaps that is why this ancient verse has never truly disappeared. Not because it is easy to accept, but because it is impossibly difficult to refute. Celebration has a peculiar habit. It rarely asks what is actually being celebrated. A birth is greeted with smiles, gifts, warm embraces, and promises about the future. No parent gathers family and friends to announce that the child has just become vulnerable to every illness, every disappointment, every grief, and every form of loss that awaits a human life. Yet those possibilities arrive together with the first breath. They are not accidents that interrupt existence. They become part of it from the very beginning. Theognis of Megara saw this with unsettling clarity. Rather than treating birth as an unquestionable blessing, he measured it against everything that inevitably follows. His famous verse, that the best fate is never to have been born, was not written in a moment of despair. It was the result of observing a pattern that no generation has managed to escape. A newborn carries no memories, no ambitions, and no regrets. Even so, time immediately begins collecting its debt. Teeth emerge only to wear down. Strength reaches a peak only to decline. Every friendship risks separation. Every love carries the possibility of mourning. Growing older is often described as a privilege, yet it also means witnessing people disappear one by one, while the mirror quietly records changes no one can negotiate away. This is not a rejection of joy. Moments of happiness are undeniably real. The point is different. They never suspend the conditions under which they exist. A family dinner can be filled with laughter, while someone at the table unknowingly faces the first symptoms of a terminal disease. A child can fall asleep feeling completely safe, unaware that the following morning will transform their life forever through an accident, a diagnosis, or a loss. For Theognis, this was the heart of the dilemma. Birth does not merely open the door to delight. It also binds every person to a future where decline, separation, and death are not possibilities to avoid, but companions woven into the very fabric of being alive. Hope possesses an extraordinary privilege. It is almost never asked to prove itself. A patient accepts another treatment after months of failure. A worker returns to the same exhausting routine, convinced that next year will finally be different. Parents endure unbearable sacrifices, believing their children will inherit a kinder world. Civilizations have repeated this pattern for thousands of years. Empires collapsed, famines erased entire populations, epidemics buried millions, and still each generation whispered the same promise to the next. Tomorrow will justify today. Theognis looked at that promise with suspicion. His poetry does not celebrate expectation. It dismantles it. If the finest destiny is never to have been born, then every future, however brilliant it appears, remains confined within the same boundaries established at birth. Time still advances. Loss still arrives. Death still concludes the story. Modern psychology offers an intriguing parallel. The human mind is remarkably skilled at projecting itself into better futures. This tendency often helps people persist through hardship, organize long-term goals, and endure uncertainty. From an evolutionary perspective, such expectations can favor survival. Yet survival and truth are not necessarily identical pursuits. A belief may sustain effort even when reality refuses to reward it. History repeatedly exposes this tension. During the trenches of the First World War, countless soldiers wrote letters promising they would soon return home. Many never did. Families living through the Great Famine in Ireland planted for another season despite watching previous harvests fail. Prisoners in concentration camps clung to memories, routines, or dreams, because abandoning every expectation often meant surrendering the will to continue. Hope, then, may be less a guarantee about tomorrow than a shield against today's weight. Perhaps this explains why Theognis refused to build his philosophy upon promises. Every expectation, no matter how luminous, remains vulnerable to a single event capable of dissolving it. Reality asks for no one's permission before overturning the future they imagined. Mercy is perhaps the rarest phenomenon in nature. Outside the walls of our homes, life survives by consuming other life. A gazelle does not receive justice before the lion attacks. A bird does not negotiate with the storm before its nest is destroyed. Entire species disappear without ceremony, while countless others are born only to die before reaching maturity. Nature wastes life with a scale that the human mind struggles to comprehend. Why then should human existence be exempt from the same law? Theognis understood something that remains deeply uncomfortable. Suffering does not require an explanation because it is not an interruption of reality. It belongs to reality. Happiness, on the other hand, is fragile, temporary, and remarkably dependent on circumstances that no one fully controls. Every newspaper quietly confirms this. Earthquakes bury families that had ordinary plans for the following morning. A medical exam divides life into a before and an after within a single conversation. Parents attend the funeral of children, overturning an order that every heart instinctively believes should never be reversed. None of these events violate the rules of the world. They reveal them. Even biology speaks the same language. Most living organisms produce far more offspring than will ever survive. Predation, disease, scarcity, and competition are not flaws within natural systems. They are among the mechanisms through which those systems operate. The continuation of one life is frequently purchased at the expense of another. Against this backdrop, Theognis' famous verse acquires a different weight. The best for mortal men is never to have been born. Read carefully. It is less an outburst than an observation. A life may contain beauty, affection, and unforgettable moments, yet none of these erase the structure that contains them. Every joy remains surrounded by uncertainty. Every beginning quietly carries its conclusion. The universe offers opportunities, not guarantees. It creates lives with astonishing abundance, but it signs no promise that those lives will be gentle, fair, or happy. Conviction often disguises itself as freedom. People say they love life, yet their daily routine tells a more complicated story. The alarm rings before sunrise. Bills accumulate. Bodies grow tired. Relationships fracture. Anxiety steals sleep. Even so, the following morning, the same cycle begins again. At first glance, this persistence appears to prove that life is deeply cherished. But another interpretation, far more unsettling, was offered over 2,000 years ago. Hegesias of Cyrene argued that human beings overestimate happiness because they confuse the instinct to survive with genuine satisfaction. According to him, pleasure is unstable, pain is unavoidable, and complete fulfillment remains beyond reach. From that perspective, continuing to live is not necessarily evidence that existence is good. It may simply reveal how powerfully nature resists its own extinction. This distinction changes everything. Someone standing on the edge of a collapsing building instinctively searches for a way out. A person struggling to breathe fights desperately for air. These reactions do not settle the philosophical question of whether life is desirable. They reveal something more fundamental. Living organisms are shaped to preserve themselves. Biology answers before reflection even begins. Theognis approached the same condition from another direction. If the greatest blessing is never to have entered existence, then remaining alive cannot be taken as proof that existence was a gift. It only demonstrates that once life begins, every instinct, every heartbeat, and every cell works relentlessly to continue it. Perhaps this is why so many people avoid silence. Constant noise, endless plans, and relentless distraction keep one question at a safe distance. If survival were separated from instinct, how many would still embrace existence for its own sake? That question has echoed since antiquity because it refuses easy comfort. It forces a distinction that few are willing to examine. Remaining alive and affirming life are not identical acts. One belongs to nature, the other belongs to philosophy. And between them lies a silence that neither optimism nor fear can completely erase. Death carries a reputation that perhaps belongs to birth. Nearly every fear surrounding death is borrowed from life itself. Grief exists because attachment came first. Regret exists because time was limited from the beginning. Physical suffering belongs to living bodies, not to their absence. Death merely closes a story whose final page started being written with its opening line. This is precisely where Theognis reached a conclusion that still unsettles the modern mind. The best for mortal men is never to have been born. His words do not condemn death. They question the condition that makes death inevitable in the first place. Long before him, another voice from Greek tradition expressed an even darker judgment. When King Midas demanded wisdom from Silenus, the companion of Dionysus finally answered, "The greatest fortune for any human being is never to be born. The second greatest is to die as soon as possible." Few ideas have survived so many centuries with so little need for revision. Their endurance comes from confronting a reality that every generation encounters and none overcomes. Even ancient wisdom literature reaches a similar horizon. Ecclesiastes declares that the dead are happier than the living, and happier still is the one who has never seen the suffering done under the sun. Different cultures, different centuries, an unsettling convergence. Perhaps that is why these voices refuse to disappear. They ask a question that progress cannot silence, wealth cannot purchase away, and optimism cannot permanently dissolve. If every life, regardless of privilege or achievement, ultimately moves toward decline, separation, and death, then what exactly was gained by crossing the threshold into existence? No definitive answer has ever settled that question. Only one fact remains untouched. No one volunteers to enter this world. No one signs the contract. No one negotiates the terms. You never chose to exist. And yet, from the moment you arrived, you inherited a fate that was decided before you could speak your first word. If these ideas challenge the way you see existence, you'll find more than 100 videos waiting for you on this channel. Simply watching, subscribing, and sharing already helps more than you know, and I'm genuinely grateful for that. If you'd like to go a step further, consider becoming a channel member for exclusive perks, or leave a super thanks to help keep these conversations alive. Every bit of support makes it possible to create more videos like this. Thank you for being part of this journey.